Looking good this morning on Cafecito con Colón. Feliz lunes. Man, it's going to be a beautiful day today. Good morning, Don Lencho. Can you hear me okay?
Buenos días, sí, señor.
Buenos dias. How about double R, Roberta Ricci? Can you hear me okay?
I can. Good morning, Brian.
Good morning. Welcome to my Cafecito colleagues. It's another beautiful day in the Tierra del Encanto, the land of enchantment, the home of the National Hispanic Cultural Center. And we're going to talk a lot today about Maravilla 2020. Una noche en el Mundo Hispano. It's going to be amazing. I'm so glad you're here.
Yeah.
Thanks to Mariachi Vargas for playing Café Colón, the theme song, the bumper music, the start of the day at 9 a.m. on Café Colón. Let's see here. Donna, good to see you this morning. You know Roberta very, very well. Yuridia Morales. Sending out love to Roberta. Pam Castillo Lesperance. Pam Lesperance, love you very much. Thanks for coming by. Patricia L. Chavez. Boy, we've enjoyed a few maravillas together over the years. Thank you, PLC, for coming in this morning. Great to see you. Welcome to Cafecito con Colón. Anik, glad you're here. Trish Ruiz, where Trish rolls, sunshine follows. She is an amazing leader in education. She's an amazing leader in her Democratic Party, our Democratic Party of New Mexico. But she's making a difference in the educational landscape in New Mexico, serving as a commissioner on the Public Education Commission. We're so grateful for her. Valerie Martinez and Michael Martinez, great to have you with us this morning on Cafecito con Colón. Thanks for being part of my extrovert therapy. And boy, are we going to get some therapy this morning, because we are going to talk about Maravilla 2020. Maravilla has been a part of my life for as long as I can remember. Aleli and I have always considered this one of the best adult proms in the country. I mean, it is amazing. You cannot find many better excuses to get all gussied up, to bring out your best threads so that you can be los guapos, and just showing off New Mexico beauty. And we get to do that every year with Maravilla. And today we have two of our tremendous leaders from the National Hispanic Cultural Center. Yes, if you don't know it, New Mexico, Albuquerque, in the South Valley, in our beautiful, beautiful historic neighborhood. We are not the host to the Hispanic Cultural Center, but the National Hispanic Cultural Center. And that means coast to coast, folks. People come from all over the country to see the treasures that we host and have there at the National Hispanic Cultural Center. Many years ago, about 20, I think, I've got so many great stories for the National Hispanic Cultural Center, but my two favorite, I'm gonna give my two favorite, then we're gonna do some links, and then I'm gonna introduce you to Roberta and to Don Lencho. My first favorite story is when I was a very young person trying to get involved in philanthropy and really learn what philanthropy is all about, thanks to people like Lynn Troyon and Jennifer Reardon and Diane Ogawa. And those are that's my philanthropy trifecta in my life. And I decided that I would answer Clara Apodaca's call to start what we called Club Social, which was a group of young professionals who didn't necessarily have the capacity to write a check with a comma in it, but they loved the National Hispanic Cultural Center. So we could write small checks, but feel endeared to the National Hispanic Cultural Center. And it was at that point that I fell in love. I fell in love with this community treasure that helped us tell our story in particular for the beautiful people of New Mexico and our heritage, having been here, and many families lived in New Mexico or this land under three flags. But more importantly, to tell the story of Hispanics around the country. And that's when my love for the NHCC started. And then I'll just tell my other quick favorite story. It's because my son was probably about 5, 6, 7. He was in his primary years in school, and we were doing a groundbreaking for the Disney Theater on the campus. So we could look up to see what year that is, but I'll just tell you, my son is now 23. I'm now in my 25th year of marriage, and we continue to be side by side with Roberta and Keith in this marriage journey and trying to show the world how great that is. But I will just say that we were doing the groundbreaking there for the theater, right? And they had all the dignitaries there with all the gold shovels, no? I mean, it was beautiful. You had everybody from, I don't think the governor was there, but you had the Speaker of the House. You had the Edwards were there. Of course, the Edwards are always there. We could talk about the Edwards today. But the Edwards were there, probably 15 people with gold shovels. So my son, of course, being as shy as he is, like his dad, walked up to somebody and said, well, I want a shovel. And so whoever it was gave them their shovel. And Raphael summarily was going to get in on the action. And he pulls the shovel and he pulls it back and he about knocked out Roy Disney.
Oh, no.
Seriously. And don't you know that that's when the Albuquerque Journal snapped the photo? So there is a photo of Raphael with a shovel just about knocking out Roy Disney as Roy Disney is turning over a check, I think with 2 commas in it, to the National Hispanic Cultural Center. So his family's namesake would be on that theater. And it was a beautiful day. Rest in peace, Mr. Disney. Thank you for that generosity that you and the company showed to the National Hispanic Cultural Center and giving me that memory for a lifetime. So with that, it is now 9:06. So I've only got about 4 minutes to put up a few of my links of the day. And then Roberta and Lencho will get into our visit. How's that sound? Okay.
Sounds great.
Are you bored yet, Lencho? Qué bárbaro. Look at you.
All smiles. Anytime I get it.
You got those cool kid headsets on.
Yeah, well, porque ya me estoy poniendo sordo.
Oh, sí, come on.
But I'm getting hard of hearing, so it's easier to do it this way.
Well, you look great. You look great. Hey, Don Ernesto. Speaking of great Hispanos that I respect like Lencho, we got Ernesto Martinez. His bride is Dr. Melina Martinez, one of the best dentists in the entire Western Hemisphere. She offices out of Santa Fe, New Mexico. We love her. Lynn Troyan is here showing lots of love to Roberta and the NHCC. Michelle Romero, thank you for being a civil servant for life. And our Honorable Candy Patterson is on this morning. Candelaria, talk about leaders in education. She is working so hard for the students, the educators, the stakeholders, the people who keep our buildings clean, the people who keep the lights on in APS. Candy is always there advocating for them. We're grateful for that. We welcome Dr. Lawrence Roybal, who's joining us this morning. Thank you, Dr. Roybal. Thank you. Another Honorable Virginia Trujillo is with us this morning. We got a great crowd. The Honorable, hey, Michael Silva. Mike Silva is with us this morning. Talk about a leader in our community. What a phenomenal human being he is. Let me see here. Let me start out by saying that we've got about 63 days until Election Day, and I want to make sure that everybody gets out and votes. The ability to request your ballot is now live, and regardless of what the preview pick might say on there, that is a hot link, and it actually showed up correctly. So it does say Portal SOS, and that is the correct link to do your ballot request. So if you want to do that, make sure and get on there. I also want to start out with a shout out for the efforts of Census 2020. We've got to get our census in. This story on theconversation.com highlights what I've been saying for months. It highlights the issue that I set forth in the editorial that the Albuquerque Journal ran that I wrote regarding the unfortunate decision to shorten the deadline for people to participate in the census. And those who will be affected most deeply are people of color, and more specifically, are people of color in New Mexico. We have got to get the word out about the importance of the census. It means billions of dollars for us over the next decade. So please, please reach out to your neighbors, your friends, and particularly people of color, and ask them to fill out their Census 2020. But that's a very important article on the conversation. Okay, on the fun side, and I'm going to cut out a bunch of these links because I want to bring these two superstars, dynamos, to camera. But on the fun side, if you're looking for something to do with the fam this week, I found this Jeopardy Labs, thanks to the Jewish Federation. They included it in their email blast. but this JeopardyLabs.com, you could actually create your own Jeopardy game or use a template that's already on there, and kind of have some fun with that. I was never any good with Jeopardy, but I've been inspired by Alex Trebek's incredibly high profile bout with pancreatic cancer and his courage. And I'm feeling a little remiss, but I may post one before we finish, but I will say a quick homage to Chadwick, who passed away on Friday. People that follow my page know that I've done a few pages posted over the weekend, but what a transformational human being. He transformed the dialogue. He transformed what young girls and boys of color think about when they think about superheroes and about what they can do when they grow up. He told the story of incredible people like Justice Thurgood Marshall. I have his biography up there on my shelf. Just incredibly important roles at such a young age. He didn't have 4 decades on this planet, and that's a shame and a loss for all of us that we won't have his talent. But we do have Wakanda, and we do have his memory, and he will be the king for many for generations to come. And we pray for his family's comfort and the loss in that incredibly impactful life. Good morning, Dr. McCaffrey, coming in from San Miguel County, Condado San Miguel. Good morning, Carlos. Great to have you with us. I understand you're in town for a few days. Welcome to Cafecito con Colon. I hope our paths cross. Look, we've got about a few dozen folks that are tuned in live, and we'll have about 1,000 folks learn by tomorrow morning this time about Maravilla 2020. And this is going to be a phenomenal experience coming up on September 12th. And it is going to be at 5:30 p.m. And there are going to be incredible ways for you to tune in, plug in, and become a part of what's so important to the National Hispanic Cultural Center. Let me begin by providing, I could speak, look, I did a Google about these two incredible New Mexicans, and I can tell you, I can spend the next 45 minutes or 48 minutes that I have talking about these two phenomenal human beings who I'm privileged to call my friends, but I'm going to try and keep their bios really short. So I hope the two of you will forgive me, but I want to talk about Maravilla 2020 as much as possible, or I want to listen about Maravilla 2020, and I'm going to keep your bios kind of short. Will you indulge me in a short bio for each of you?
Sure, absolutely.
So let me just start out with El Guapo. El Guapo is Larry, and known to most of us as Don Lencho. Lencho Espinosa. He is really an incredible native New Mexican who was born and raised in Albuquerque. He grew up specifically in Martinez Town neighborhood and developed the love of culture, family, and heritage. After attending St. Charles Borromeo Elementary and Middle School, he attended St. Pius High School, followed by several years at the University of New Mexico. Larry has an affinity for family, community, and relationships. His personality and character are exemplified in all 3 of those areas. And I got to tell you, I have never been with Lencho when I wasn't smiling. This man has such positive energy. It's no surprise that he is the other half of this dynamic duo that is the force behind Maravilla 2020. He's managed restaurants. He's worked in the athletics industry. He and his partner, Ron Patel, amongst others, successfully launched what was the predecessor and now the incredible New Mexico United. I was proud to stand with them on that journey. I'm proud to stand with New Mexico United. Many of you saw my kit that I was wearing, my jersey for the game this weekend. They fought to a draw and did a great job representing New Mexico on the road again. But Larry brings lots of fundraising background, marketing, PR, and most importantly, what I love about Larry is he loves to tell our story. He loves to lift up our Hispanic community. You know, coming from Martinez Town and understanding what it is to be a true Burqueño is something that few people have the pride and capacity to do in the manner in which Larry Espinosa does. And that's because Lencho is all heart all the time. So ladies and gentlemen, welcome Lencho Espinosa.
Senor, thank you so much. I don't ever like being spoken about, but if I had someone to do it, I would definitely ask you to do it again. Thank you so much for allowing us to be here. I appreciate you, my friend.
You bet. You're a cherished and dear friend, and have been for many years. And speaking of friends for many years, 2 decades of my journey has been beside this incredible leader of the National Hispanic Cultural Center Foundation. She is truly an amazing, amazing community spirit. And I say community spirit not lightly, because where she goes, people follow, because they follow her on her authenticity and her love for all that is our community. And she is now in the position of leading the Cultural Centers Foundation. But our paths have crossed so many times because it doesn't matter what job she's taken. She always seems to take a job that matches one of my passion points, whether it's CNM, whether it's UNM, whether it's the Cultural Center. It doesn't matter, because where she goes, I find it's one of those places where my passion lies. And so it's always been easy to be a cheerleader for Roberta, for her children, for her husband, Keith, who is like, you know what I think of when I think of Keith? I think of he's like a Mr. Incredible. Like, he's this big old dude and he's all heart. He's just a great guy. Like, if you've never met Keith, you got to meet him, because kind of like I said about Lencho, no, like, you can't be with Keith and Roberta and not just be smiling, because they are like little novios in high school that never grew up. I mean, that when I think of Keith and I think of Roberta, that's what I think of. Whether it's in the backyard with a glass of wine because they finally grew up past 21, you could still see them all los pichones, all in love. And I just think that that's one of the ways I think of Roberta. Is I think of her through the lens of a beautiful, beautiful family that she has. She was previously the director of development at CNM. She raised funds for student support scholarships and services and programs. And I think she's always had a passion and love for lifting up young people of color. And I think that why she does so well and why she is not just surviving, but she's thriving in this role at the National Hispanic Cultural Center is because she knows she's in the unique position, with the help of Lencho, to be able to tell our story, to be able to lift up our community, to be able to tell the story of those who find themselves on the margins far too frequently because they're not understood, because we don't understand their value, because we don't understand the contribution they've given to our community, our history, and our people. So look, I could keep going, but let me just say that from a data point, you should know that Roberta doesn't just bring a passion and an incredible ability to fundraise and bring the community together. She's also highly educated. She's got a master's degree in educational leadership with a concentration in higher ed. She's got a BBA. She's got all these incredible experiences, whether it's with the Atrisco, what was it, development center, the economic development center there, no?
The Atrisco companies, and then also the South Valley Economic Development Center.
I was bringing those two together.
Yeah.
Your work with Peter and then the work at the development center. See, you've done so many great things. They just all conflate in my mind. So with that, let me just do this. It's 17 minutes after the hour, and we're going to spend the next 45 minutes talking about Maravilla 2020. And let me just ask you, Roberta, why don't you get us started? Tell us a little bit about your work with the Hispanic Cultural Center, and then let's pivot over specifically. I want to spend as much time as possible because this is going to be a Maravilla like we've never seen before. So tell us a little bit about the National Hispanic Cultural Center and provide the framing for us.
Well, thank you so much, Brian. You're always so wonderful, and you're such a huge mentor of mine. So I just really appreciate the introduction, and I love you and I love your family, and it's been really nice for all of us to collaborate and just push our community forward. That's what it's all about, is us lending a hand. And I think that's kind of the spirit of what this Maravilla is all about. When this pandemic happened, we weren't sure what we're going to do, and no one saw this coming to last this long. And so at first we're thinking, okay, well, our galas in September, we're good. We don't have to worry about it. Then come April, we figured we really need to make a decision, because if you're going to pivot something like this, it takes a few months to organize and to figure out how we're going to do it right. And I think one of the main things that not only myself and my staff, but also our board of directors asked ourselves was, how do you help, or how do you ask people to help you when they're hurting themselves? How do you ask your community to stand by you and donate items or donate goods or be a sponsor when they're hurting, and not even sure if they're going to have their doors open or they're laying off employees or something. So we've really struggled with that. So we just decided to work together, to collaborate in this. So this is so much bigger than the National Hispanic Cultural Center Foundation. This is about our community. This is about appreciation for those who stood by us, and also just the love that we have in our community for Hispanic arts and culture and humanities, not only just in New Mexico, but throughout the country, throughout the globe. And so that's kind of the focus point of this year's Maravilla. So I don't know if you want me to start going into the details of it now, or.
Yeah, I want you to talk, help our viewers, because look, 1,000 people are going to watch this somewhere between, and over the course between now and September 12th, the big day. We don't want to forget that, folks. September 12th, 5:30. Get ready to have your glass or your bottle of vino and be ready to just enjoy every bit of it. Be ready to bid on auction items that you're not going to have access to anywhere else in the country other than Maravilla 2020. They're going to have not just items, but experiences. And that's what's going to be special about Maravilla 2020. But before we get into that, Roberta, can you tell us, I'm hoping you can give us, for our people who've never been to the National Hispanic Cultural Center, they don't know about the net, because there are people in our community, even to this day, 2 decades plus later, that don't know about the NHCC. So tell us a little bit about kind of that big overview, and then we'll get down into Maravilla 2020.
Great. So the National Hispanic Cultural Center is actually celebrating its 20th anniversary this year. So in October, we'll be celebrating 20 years of being in this community. And it really was created by a bunch of incredible leaders that wanted to promote Hispanic arts and culture and humanities. As you were speaking earlier, we do represent people of color, and it's really important. There's this sort of a stereotype of that museums and performances of this kind, or operas, those types of things are for people of status. You hardly ever walk the walls and see someone like you or someone like your grandmother, or traditions in your family being represented. And I think that's why the National Hispanic Cultural Center is so important to especially this time, because we represent all. Like Lencho is going to be talking about a little bit later. The National Hispanic Cultural Center, what makes it so unique and special is that we're the umbrella for all 27 Spanish speaking countries throughout the globe. So at any point you can come to one of our 700 events throughout the year when we're open and be able to experience different countries, different traditions, and learn about that, and learn about more similarities that we have together and that we share through food, through art, through performance, through music, poetry, writing. So we have 3 different areas. It's a 20-acre campus. We have 3 different areas. We have our Visual Arts Museum. We have our Performing Arts building, theaters. And we have our History and Literary Arts building, which has a library and a genealogy center there. We also have the most beautiful Torreon with the fresco. It's a 4,000 square foot fresco. With
Can we just say, let me just say that not only is it a 4,000 foot fresco, and not only is it beautiful, but it is the largest traditional fresco in the Western Hemisphere, if I'm not mistaken, or at least in the country for sure.
No, you're correct. Absolutely. And what makes it so beautiful is that it represents our history, Hispanic history. And over the last year, we had AmeriCorps Vistas that came in to the National Hispanic Cultural Center and worked with our History and Literary Arts Department to take some of those images and digitize them and work with APS in order to teach our history to our students. And we're using it as a pilot program, and we're hoping that this will now be able to be offered through, across the country for people to be able to enjoy and see. So we have lots to be proud of.
I can tell you, I mean, I remember being in the fresco as it was being painted over those several years. And I remember our beautiful artist, famous New Mexican, he literally on his back, on scaffolding or on the scissor lift of scaffolding, painting on that roof. And so for people that don't know, I mean, it's concave, it's incredible. And Roberta's got it exactly right. He wanted to tell the history of the world through that fresco and the history of our people. And it is like nothing else you've ever seen. So please, if you have not had that opportunity to view the fresco, I mean, I have a special connection to it only because I remember when it was blank, and now I've seen it when it's finished and spent many times under it. And it's just, every time I'm there, I see something different.
Absolutely. And that's a really special thing about it is that it's here in Albuquerque, New Mexico. It is the largest concave fresco in the world. And we have a gem right here. And so we're trying to put forth, some more marketing around it and just visibility so that way people know that we have that special gem here. And we're also building the New Mexico Mutual Welcome Center right now that'll actually allow for the Torreon to be open more regular hours. So that way people could just enjoy it when they come and visit New Mexico or traveling or doing tours.
That's awesome. I mean, I think really, if we've got guests coming to town, you really have to have this at the front of the list to set the tone for their visit if they've never been to New Mexico before. God bless all our places like, I'm going to get in trouble. I like Barelas, I like Cocina Azul, but I know a lot of people take their guests to El Pinto. God bless the brothers at El Pinto. And yes, I understand the atmosphere is amazing. So everybody thinks, oh, we got to take them to El Pinto. No, forget about that. Take them to the National Hispanic Cultural Center. That's where they're going to really see our culture, our people, and tell our story. So look, let me bring Lencho on for a minute to talk a little more specifically to kind of open up the conversation about Maravilla 2020. And then we'll bring you back in, Roberta, to add some color commentary. I want to say thanks to Lencho for bringing his Mickey Mouse mug. Another shout out to the Disney family for being early investors in this worldwide gem. This is, look, we got a great museum system. There's no question our Museum of Fine Art, our Explora, our national, the one with the dinosaurs, the Natural History Museum. Like, we've got a great museum system. In fact, I think we don't do a good enough job telling our story about the incredible museums we have. But this, in my opinion, in many ways, and because I'm passionate about telling my story of the Hispanic people, this is the gem in the crown of our community as it relates to museums and attractions. So Lencho, tell us how we're going to support that gem in the crown by coming out for Maravilla 2020 on September 12th at 5:30 with our bottle of vino right next to us.
It's interesting. So as I was brought on almost a year ago now, I kept hearing and have never really got to experience this dinosaur called Maravilla. It's just this huge event, and as you described it, the best Chicano prom around. You start thinking about that from your high school standpoint. Your prom was memorable. Prom is something that you always want to remember, and we enjoy kind of taking that similar stance of saying we want you to remember this. So for every year prior, a country is selected and the focus is put primarily on that country, their food, their drink, their everything that comes with it. Well, being that it's our 20th year anniversary, how do we pick one? So we opted to not, and we decided to celebrate all 27 Spanish-speaking countries around the world. Of which, if you are followers on Facebook and you go through from now until Maravilla, you will see little tabs, posts every day on 2 countries at 8:30 and 2:30, and it just gives you little snippets about them. Colombia being, one of their primary exports is cafe. Ooh, who would have known, right? Everybody thinks it's the other powder, so to speak, but no, it's actually cafe. So what we've decided to do is really put focus on this. We were excited to, this thing is 750 people each year. It's massive. Well, when the pandemic hit, how do we pivot that? How do we change the narrative? And we decided we don't. We just make it digital. So the cool thing is that everybody gets to experience Maravilla this year. Everybody can click on at 5:30 on September 12th and say, wow, this is what goes on here.
So I don't have to pay to click in?
No.
I don't?
No, negative.
All right, I'm going to give you money anyway, but I just love that. Let me just tell you, folks, you don't understand. Historically, Aleli and I have paid like $250 a ticket so that we could get all dressed up and go to the Chicano prom. And it was worth every penny. And then we get there and they get more money out of our pockets because Aleli, if she loves anything in this world, it's a good silent auction.
Mhm.
And no one has a silent auction like Maravilla. And they're never matched. They just got the best silent auction items. And Roberta, I know you've got a couple items that are particularly you're excited about. I put up, Lencho, you had a great video, like a trailer for Maravilla 2020. I posted that up, and then I posted a link to the photographs and the video of the silent auction. So nice job on that promotional material. I don't know if you led the way on that, Lencho, but I know you're a master when it comes to marketing.
I can't take credit for that. I did give some ideas, but we have found two masters that are masters of their craft and have been able to put things together for us and really make this what we're calling from our house to yours. And we want people to come and experience what this is. Well, everybody has been thinking negatively with regards to this pandemic and what it's done. We flipped the script on it. And what we've done is we've actually thought, well, people that wouldn't normally come to visit for one night can now experience Maravilla. So we now have international traction, which we would have never had before.
Right.
So we're really looking at this from a positive light and have managed to get everything in order where we will be able to sustain the bandwidth, sustain the requests, and really work on making an experience that you will remember. Again,
That's
like
awesome.
that prom that you want to always remember. So what we're trying to do is continue to expand the knowledge base, not only of the Hispanic Cultural Center, but the fact that for too long, Roberta and I have talked about this for too many times, we are tired of being the best kept secret in New Mexico. We don't want to be that anymore. We want everybody to know who we are, what we do, and more importantly, why we do it.
Well, that sounds great. The only secreto we want is the Secreto Lounge in Santa Fe at the Heritage Hotels and Resorts. There's a little plug for my best friends, Heritage Hotels and Resorts. If I had a sponsor of the show, I think they'd be my sponsor because I love Heritage Hotels and Resorts. Jim Long, Adrian Perez, their incredible wives. Let me just tell you, not only have they served on the board for the Hispanic Cultural Center, but they are some of the most generous sponsors I've seen over the last 20 years at the different events that support this. So I am happy to talk about Secreto Lounge there in Santa Fe. I think it's in Santa Fe, right?
Yeah, and they continue to do it.
That's right.
Even in a time where hotel room nights are down and their bread and butter, they continue to support. And
they are the epitome of philanthropy in New Mexico. And there's no one that loves telling our story. Roberta, with all due respect, there's no one, and even over me, that loves to tell our story more than Rebecca and James Long. Jim and Rebecca are the best, whether it's the Spanish colonial art story, whether it's the flamenco, whether it's the National Hispanic Cultural Center, they are there 100%. So Roberta, tell us about this auction. I know you're excited about it. You sent me a link to great pictures and a video. I posted that for our viewers today. Tell us a little bit about some of the items that are exciting you.
Well, I just want to also say real quick that, the National Hispanic Cultural Center is a division of the Department of Cultural Affairs through the state of New Mexico. And we're the 501c3 nonprofit arm, the fundraising arm, the foundation, because the state does not cover any of the programs that you all enjoy at the National Hispanic Cultural Center. And so the money that's raised here is to help the operations of the foundation, so that way we can raise money and raise funds and raise awareness for all the wonderful programs that are offered at the center. So it's really critical that these dollars, because every cent matters. I'm always saying it doesn't matter. And you were talking about tickets and everything. There's a great way to still support us. We have, of course, all of our sponsors that still came through for us this year that we're so grateful for. But the night of Maravilla, you can join Friends of Maravilla. And if you're so inclined to buy a ticket, you can donate that amount, but we'll take any amount of that you would like to support us for. And part of that is our silent auction. So we're going to have a really, really robust silent auction that's going to be open for 1 week. So it's going to start this coming up Sunday at September 6th at noon, and it's going to run all the way through September 13th at 4 p.m. And there's about 70 items that people can choose from, and it's from art and family stuff. We have somebody built a library, a neighborhood library for us, a disco, all kinds of really fun, exciting things for our silent auction. But what's always made Maravilla really, really fun and energizing is during the dinner, we have a live auction, and we didn't know how to do our live auction this year online. So we're
Right.
having a few special items that are being pulled as part of our featured items. And so for those of you in our community, for those of you who are not in our community, if you don't know Mr. Edward Lujan, he is one of the founders of the National Hispanic Cultural Center. He is still one of my greatest mentors. And he's
Are we
also—
going to have a bolo? Are we going to have a bolo again this year?
So in the regular silent auction items, he did make a bolo tie, and then he has another cross in our regular silent auction that he created and crafted. But he's collaborated with another local artist, Linda Valencia Martinez, and they just made this beautiful hand-carved
I have a
cross.
piece of hers here somewhere.
Yeah. So that's going to be one of our featured items. We also have, of course, that you spoke of the Heritage Hotels and Resorts. They were so wonderful to provide a staycation because we want to make sure that people really enjoy New Mexico and are safe. And so there's a package to Hotel Chaco for 2 nights for 2 couples. And then also they just renovated their El Dorado Hotel in Santa Fe. And so they have a beautiful new pool area and spa area. And so they wanted
A
to—
rooftop pool, folks, a rooftop pool. Chaco is world renowned. It's acclaimed. It's been featured in Condé Nast. It is an amazing piece of architectural wonder that is a tribute to what? Telling our story. You know, Jim Long, his background is in architecture. That's what he studied when he was in college. And he continues to be able to help tell our story and lift up our people by embracing his craft, which is architecture and excellence. And so, of course, Heritage Hotel is going to be having those great staycation packages in that Maravilla auction. And I've also posted, Roberta, I'm sorry, you know who just came to mind? That was strange. I got to call Monica, but you know who is in my heart just now? Loretta Armenta just totally came to my mind.
She was such a big part of the creation of the
Maravilla,
foundation. Absolutely.
right?
So maybe that's what it is. But when you're
Golly.
talking about, Ed Romero, Ambassador Romero, and Edward Lujan and Loretta, I mean, they all just played such a huge, in the Albuquerque Hispano Chamber of Commerce. I mean, they all came together to make this a reality.
I have to call her, and
I need to call her as
she
well.
just came to my mind. Wow, what a rest in peace. But look, I want to say that I posted the link, folks, to the Friends of Maravilla there in the comment section. And so if you donate at least $25 today to the Friends of Maravilla, you will be entitled to receive a very limited edition Cafecito con Colon cup.
Oh,
Which
that's
of course
awesome.
has our logo on one side and my saying on the other, which these 2 human beings live every day. I've always said that your success in life will always be directly proportional to the success you help others achieve. And these 2 folks are a living example of that. So thank you for all the success you've helped all of us achieve in this community by lifting us up on a daily basis.
Thank you.
What else do you want to tell us about the auction?
Yeah, so we have some really special items for all those sports fans out there, basketball fans out there. We lost one of our greats also in Kobe Bryant, and we were lucky enough to secure an autographed jersey and an autographed basketball, both with a certificate of authentication. So, we hope that we want to spread the word as much as possible for people to bid on those items. And then in keeping local, again, we have one of our wonderful up and coming, I don't even want to say up and coming, I think he's arrived, Reyes Padilla. He's a graduate of Central New Mexico Community College, which I love. And he has just did a beautiful mural in the Sawmill District. But one of his great talents is he's colorblind. And he does these beautiful art pieces. And recently he's been saying that he can commission an art piece. So if somebody has a favorite song or something really meaningful to them, a piece of music that they love, he's actually going to take a tour with the winner of this auction item of his studio, talk to them about their music and their song, the choice that they select, and then he's going to commission an art piece for them. So that's really cool. And we're throughout the whole entire Maravilla experience, you're going to see so much local love here. We have partnered with, again, vendors and businesses in our community that have been struggling during this time and saying, how can we help you while you're helping us? And so, as you know, when you arrive at Maravilla, all dressed up, looking fantastic, the minute you arrive on campus, you're greeted with a welcome drink. And so Hollow Spirits has agreed to, they made our welcome drink. And so people will be able to log online that night and see the drink being made. You can buy kits ahead of time for $35. And so you can make the drinks at home with us, which is really kind of cool. We
I
have
celebrated my 50th birthday at Hollow Spirits with a very small group of folks, and it's a great place, a great community partner, and they do a wonderful job. That's exciting.
it's really exciting. And then you're going to see all these wonderful things. Albuquerque Florist makes our beautiful centerpieces, which our sponsors and our hosts will get. I'll talk about the dinners in a minute. We have Vara Wines, who's been our exclusive wine sponsor for the last couple of years. They're doing some great things with us. And Cutbow Coffee, one of our local wonderful coffee houses here in New Mexico, Rio Grande graduates, Rio Grande High School graduates, proud South Valley people. They're going to be part of this as well. So we're doing a lot of really fun interactive videos with a lot of our local businesses throughout the event that night, along with showcasing the great things that we do and the work that we do.
That's going to be amazing. Lots of opportunities to support the National Hispanic Cultural Center Foundation, Maravilla 2020. Things are going to go online starting in about a week, and then the event will be on September 12th at 5:30. September 12th at 5:30. Mark it down, folks. That's only just going to be 1 week from Saturday, September 12th. And you can sign up today to be a friend of Maravilla, which I'm going to do, and I encourage you to do, and get your Cafecito con Colon mug absolutely for free. Thanks for standing with Lencho and with Roberta in this effort. Lencho, maybe tell us a little bit about the entertainment presentation that night. I'm sure there's an entertainment component. We don't know how to do anything with people of color without having entertainment. So tell me about that.
Well, one of the cool things that we've done is so this isn't live, it's all been pre-recorded. So one of the cool things is that the gentleman that has done the editing for this has managed to cut little bits and pieces of music that has been recorded at the center in different points in time. So you'll be watching and learning of something, and then 10 minutes in you'll cut to a song by a local musician. We have a whole group of really cool inserts, let's put it that way. But at the end of the 55 minute show, we have Baracutanga, who has managed to put together a fantastic 1 hour concert, so to speak. Not so to speak, it actually is. It's a concert, 1 hour concert that you will be able to listen to. And the cool thing about all of this is that if you feel like you missed something or you want to hear it over again, you can play it again the next morning.
I love it.
So a lot of it's going to be really, really exciting. All the people that have managed to participate all tell really cool stories of the NHCC.
Right.
This is exciting from a standpoint of I've seen other galas, digital virtual galas go on. And I'm really excited for this one because of the way that it flows. It flows so incredibly well, and is just so well done that people will be entertained. And that's the exciting part for us, is that we're going to go in, we're going to tell you what we do, we're going to tell you why we do it. And we're going to ask for your support, and we're going to feature local places. So really, if you think about it, Brian, what more could you ask for?
Right. No, it's awesome.
We're really excited to reveal this thing.
Well, I'm really excited. I'm really excited too, and we hope that lots of people sign up to be a friend of the museum. And I just am sorry that I didn't get to tell my story about Rafael almost knocking out Roy Disney. I think that's a pretty good story.
It is a good story. If I could quickly talk about the hybrid to this whole thing, Brian, if you don't mind.
I do have one question for you before you go to the hybrid. Can you help me understand? So on the live auction items or those special auction items, Lencho did a nice job about talking about how this is going to be presented virtually and how it's pre-recorded. So can you highlight again for me, if I missed it, how is it going to work for those special items?
So the special items will be also on our silent auction tab on our, so if you go to maravillagala.com through next week, you'll be able to bid, and you'll receive emails if somebody outbid you, and so you can kind of
Cool.
go back and forth. Yeah, so
Cool.
we're really
All
going to
right,
be
tell us
pushing.
about the hybrid.
Yeah, we're going to be pushing it a lot on social media as well, making sure people are aware of those items. We'll be having a story in the Albuquerque Journal coming up, and doing as much press as we possibly can to get the word out of those items.
Awesome. Awesome. So tell us about the hybrid that you wanted to talk about.
So when we're talking about having a virtual environment, and of course, everything has just been so different and during this pandemic, and we want to make sure, and I just want to give a special shout out also to the governor's office, because they've just been so incredible. Because as you know, we want to be very, very mindful that we are in a pandemic, and we want to make sure that we are following all the rules that the governor has laid out to be safe and to be mindful of people's health. But at the same time, people also want to break bread together. So we're
Right.
having these small dinners. The governor just released on Thursday that we're able to do it up to 10. So our sponsorships have always been sold a table of 10. So now we're really thrilled that we could actually offer that. We've been working closely with Slate Street. So Myra Gaddis has been amazing. And we are one of the only, if not the only organization that kept their gala going. And so in a time where Myra and her two restaurants were sort of struggling the most, we came in and said, nope, we're not going to not do it. We are still going to move forward with Maravilla and have dinners, whether it's 4 people or 10 people, we're going to make them happen. So our sponsors, if they feel comfortable, can host a small dinner in their home and watch Maravilla live with their guests. And it'll be catered by Slate Street. We understand that some people don't feel comfortable with that, and that's okay. If you're a sponsor, you can get individually wrapped dinners, and your guests can go just swing by Slate Street and pick those up. And if you're not comfortable doing any of that, we're offering people the ability to get vouchers, so that way they can enjoy either Slate Street or 66 Acres at a future date. And so we wanted to just make sure that we're supporting them, because they've just been so wonderful to us. But I thought this was a great way. And I tell you, a good chunk of our sponsors who feel comfortable hosting a dinner is just thrilled to be able to have something to look forward to, get dressed up a little bit, go over and share some wonderful wine and a delicious meal together.
Tell me more. So what does that look like? If you want to sponsor a table of 10 for Maravilla 2020, and Myra and her team, and I was just there this weekend at Slate Street, had a wonderful, wonderful meal there. What does that look like? How do we do that?
Sure. So we still have sponsorships available. They start at $17.50 for a table, moving all the way up to, of course, $10,000. So with your sponsorship comes different perks. We are so grateful for our upper level sponsors of 10,000 or above. Premier Distributing actually is going to give a Yeti cooler. And so we're giving a bunch of giveaways. So Lencho was talking about Baracuntanga doing the after fiesta. It's always been sponsored by Anthony Trujillo. People are going to be getting these celebration boxes with a bunch of local goodies inside the celebration boxes. But if you want to sponsor a table, it's $17.50, and you'll get the dinner, you'll get the centerpiece, you'll get the 2 bottles of wine, you'll get some fun decorations to help you celebrate Maravilla, and you'll be able to go pick up dinner for 10 that you could share in your home. So, and we are doing everything. We're going to have hand sanitizing stations. We are going to have masks available. We are going to make sure that, there's a questionnaire that goes out to any of the guests that are going to these events. We have just really wanted to make sure that we are following all the guidelines to make this a safe and fun environment for all.
I love it. So look, folks, my dear Cafecito colleagues, so you let me know if you want to join in. Aleli's gonna kill me. Don't tell her I'm doing this yet, because I got to break it to her gently. So I'd really like to have a few couples join me, and we're going to do this. So we're going to put together a table for Maravilla 2020 here at Casa Colon. So if you are interested in joining me on a table, because I can't write checks with commas and I'm not allowed. I'm a civil servant and my wife's an educator, so we don't write checks with commas. But I can tell you that what we always do, the way we always get a table at Maravilla is we have 4 other couples join us, and we all write our checks, we put them together, and we sponsor a table. So if you want to do that this year at Casa Colon, and I have a nice TV, it's not as nice as some people's TVs, like Anthony Trujillo's big projector movie room, but it is comfortable here at Casa Colon. So think about that. We can comply with the governor's order because the governor's order has been amended to 10 or less. We will have precautions here. We will have all the PPE necessary. We'll have sanitizer, all that stuff. And then we'll coordinate with Gaddis and get our meals here by doing a table sponsorship. So if you're one of my Cafecito colleagues and you want to come to Casa Colon and join me on September 12th, boy, Lily's going to love this. Just let me know. Send me a text, 505-270-2154, 505-270-2154. So
Yeah.
we're going to pull together a table for you.
Thank
Lencho
you.
and Roberta.
We'll make it easy for you. I mean, everything is done. Myra's been so wonderful. Everything will have specific instructions, so it's going to be very easy to serve your guests. All you have to do is just go pick it up and go home and enjoy, your outdoor patio or space. And we just ask that anybody that's attending any of these dinners, to treat it as an outdoor dining space. So if you're going to go talk to another table, mask on. If you're going to go to the restroom, mask on. Do all those kind of great things to help our community out.
And I see some great potential here. I think Jonathan Muniz just left to go study for his exam, but I see Paul Mondragon, I see Dr. Jennifer Gomez Chavez, I see Dr. Roy Ball. I see a lot of people on here that I would love to have dinner with. So
175 each, come on.
we can do this, folks. We can do this. So let me know. You've got my number. I'll put it in the chat. Text me up and see if you want to join me for Maravilla 2020 on September 12th at 5:30 here at Casa Colon. But don't tell Lily yet. I got to break it to her gently. Okay, good. So look, we are coming up on the top of the hour. We got about 5 or 10 minutes left, and I want to give Lencho and you, Roberta, another opportunity to just share with us maybe either some of the impact that you've enjoyed seeing because of the work you do at the National Hispanic Cultural Center Foundation, or anything else on the Maravilla Gala that I haven't given you a chance to talk about yet. Lencho?
I just want to shout out real quick, then I'll let Lencho finish it up. But I just want to shout out to, our exclusive sponsors that have stood by us for so long. Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Mexico has been our presenting sponsor for so long, and I'm just so grateful to them. We talked about Heritage Hotels, we talked about Holman's, we talked about, New Mexico Gas and a few others. So I'm just so grateful. Delta Dental New Mexico. We couldn't do it with all them, and everybody that we asked, just like you, people just stepping up and wanting to support us. And the impact is so huge because without this event, really the foundation would close in 6 months. We don't have the ability to stay open longer than that. So this event is really critical to preserving, promoting, engaging, and sharing Hispanic arts, culture, and humanities, not only with New Mexico, but with the world. So we hope everybody logs on that evening, enjoys an hour-long show and an hour-long concert if they want to. And thank you so much, Brian, for having us on your show.
Absolutely. We can't wait until September 12th, Una Noche en el Mundo Hispano.
And bid.
It's going to be amazing. And so thank you so much. And if you go to the website, you'll see part of that architecture I talked to you about Hotel Chaco. Not only you see Kobe Bryant's basketball and jersey are featured there on that Maravilla 2020 or maravillagala.com. But you'll also see a beautiful picture of the lobby of Hotel Chaco, which is a tribute to our Native American, our indigenous people of New Mexico and Chaco. So that is amazing. And thank you, Roberta, for giving a shout out to those two incredible community partners that are Blue Cross Blue Shield and New Mexico Mutual. They've had phenomenal leadership over the years, consistently putting the hand on the shoulder of the organizations that make the most impact. And they know that that's the National Hispanic Cultural Center. We've already got a couple people who have stepped up to join us for Casa Colon's Maravilla 2020. So I think we're going to be on our way there. Lencho, give us some more. And Roberta, we're going to let you close it out. So think about your last thought for this morning. But Lencho, I want to give you a few minutes to share something with us that we haven't talked about yet.
Well, probably the most amazing thing to me is as we continue to talk about people that continue to dig deep into their pockets or give of what they have. And there has been so many people that have given items for this silent auction that are really making it special. We have everybody from the guys at New Mexico United to little artists that have made some handmade pieces that are now going to be featured. So it's it's incredible to see how people of New Mexico continue to dig deep in a time when they can't, to share, to try to make something great of what we're doing. So much appreciation as always. From gratitude, we come and say thank you to all. Thank you to you for continuing to do what you do and allowing us the time to speak what we're doing, and hopefully continue to make this thing grow, and where we're not the best kept secret anymore. We don't want to be that. So.
That's right. No more best kept secret. You are the jewel in the crown that is our incredible landscape here in Burque, and thank you for being that for us, and thank you for those words, Lencho. Let me just say that this is one of only 2 breaks I think I've taken in the last 3 months from amplifying Black voices. We have shined a light on the incredible people in our community that are Black men and Black women, to talk a little bit about the experience since the loss of George Floyd when he was murdered on May 25th. And after having done that for a few months, we've only taken 2 episodes of Cafecito con Colon and taken the spotlight off of that conversation. But I can't think of a better reason than to promote Maravilla 2020, because again, it is so important to embrace our communities of color, and this event allows us to do that in a very spectacular way. I will be moving into September 15th. I'm honored to serve on the Hispanic Heritage Committee with our co-chairs Irma Ruiz and Dr. Jennifer Gomez Chavez, and I've served on that committee for probably pushing a decade already. And we will be featuring Hispano voices starting in September to celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month. And I'm looking forward to having some phenomenal guests on Cafecito con Colon starting September 15th. In the gap week, starting the 11th or the 7th, we will bring in some beautiful sisters and brothers from our Muslim community to talk a little bit about how they've found intersectionality in this conversation when we talk about Black Lives Matter, and how they've stood with men of color and women of color during this time when we need to make sure that those people are being heard and not just seen and marginalized. But look, I want to just say thank you to the National Hispanic Cultural Center Foundation for their leadership, for their work, their advocacy, and for being great leaders in our community. And amongst those great leaders are Lencho Espinosa, and then of course our director, who's going to close us out strong, talking about Maravilla 2020, September 12th, 5:30. Come to Casa Colon, send me a text. You've seen my number there. We've already got a couple of people that have already signed on to join our table. So I hope you'll join us too in coming up with sponsorship dollars for Maravilla 2020, Un Noche en el Mundo Hispano. Roberta Ricci.
Well, I just want to thank everybody for joining us this morning and for listening to this morning and learning more about what we do. It's really a special time. I hope everybody again, shares with their network, shares the information on Facebook, joins us Facebook Live. If you are having a small dinner at your home and hashtagging us with Maravilla 2020. It's also going to be a great opportunity for those of you who don't know, the National Hispanic Cultural Center just hired in May a new executive director for the center, and no one's really had an opportunity to meet her. So Josefa Gonzalez Mariscal will have a small little segment as well as part of the programming, but we hope that people will just get to know us a little bit better, know the work that we do and the importance of the role that we have in this country. And also, I can't say it enough, this Maravilla is really going to be about community, appreciation, and love. So join us on September 12th at 5:30 p.m. at maravillagala.com. Thank you so much, Brian.
You're very, very welcome, Roberta Ricci. You're amazing. Thank you, Larry Espinosa, mi amigo Lencho, Don Lencho. We're glad you're here. I want to say thanks to Paul Mondragon and his bride. I think have already said they want to come over to Casa Colon. Sandy, his much better half, has already given the thumbs up. And so now I've just got to get permission from Aleli to do this. I'm pretty sure I can close the deal on that one. But we look forward to having you. Dr. Lang, thank you for agreeing to come in and co-sponsor this table at Casa Colon so we can celebrate Maravilla 2020 together. Feel free to text me if you're interested in hearing about the logistics and how we're going to pull this off on September 12th at 5:30. And we will watch Maravilla together and celebrate our ability to tell our story and lift up our community and to show gratitude, as Roberta Ricci has said. So look, we're going to make it a great day here in New Mexico. We're so glad you were able to join us to celebrate and to lift up Maravilla 2020 and the National Hispanic Cultural Center Foundation. Thank you, Roberta Ricci. Thank you, Don Lencho Espinosa. You two are the dynamic duo of the National Hispanic Cultural Center Foundation. Thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you.
Make it a great day. And don't forget, if you've got friends who are in isolation, particularly our elders, let's reach out and tell them they may be in isolation, but they're not alone. Tell them that Roberta Ricci, Lencho Espinosa, and Brian Colon, their Cafecito colleagues, send their very best and their love. And especially to you, Ophelia Munzer, my surrogate mom, I love you very much. Good to see you today. Thanks to all my colleagues for doing extrovert therapy on today's Cafecito con Colon. We'll see you. Hasta mañana, todos. Tengan un buen día. Hasta pronto. Thank you, Lencho. Thank you.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
you, Roberta Ricci.
Start bidding.
You got it. Start bidding, folks.
Start bidding on Saturday or Sunday.
You got it. Thank you. See you soon.